Denny Van here, and welcome. I want to get right into today's topic about boundaries. And that means there's the line, don't cross it. Boundaries, having borders or lines that you will not cross. But many of us on a spiritual awakening journey might be asked a lot of things and, asked for help or get involved in someone's drama or get your focus, awareness, and attention off what it is you're supposed to be doing and on what it is off your mark, whatever that is. And so today I wanted to share boundaries. Whether you've been on this spiritual awakening journey yesterday or today you started, or you've been on this journey for quite some time, boundaries are so important. But what are they? They're kind of invisible. I mean, I can't put a fence around me and say, don't cross this line. I can't put chalk or paint on right in front of me and say, stay out of this space, because boundaries are very invisible and they're also very subjective. Something I want to share with you that I learned about boundaries on my spiritual awakening journey. And that was when I was diagnosed with cancer, a very fast spreading form of cancer. If you don't know my story, I basically said no to their traditional treatment of chemotherapy and radiation and was told I would be dead in 2 years. So as of this recording this year, I'll be celebrating 21 years. But I'll tell you, one of the first things that I learned on this healing journey was boundaries. And I'm also, you might not know, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm the second oldest girl. I'm the oldest girl of 8 kids. And so I learned how to people please at a very early age. So I'm a recovering people pleaser. So what I learned with boundaries is that I had to say no to so many things that I would just be automatic yes because I wanted to please them. And, a lot of times something else I had to give up in order to make sure what I said yes to follows through, or sometimes I just forgot, fell through the cracks, all of the things you say yes to. So in this video, I would like to propose that you take on some scripts as to when it comes to clarifying your boundaries. For example, when I was learning to say no to a lot of things and being the people pleaser that I was, and she still pops up, I still am, I had to recognize that all of the times that I'm saying no to those things, it's going to make this part of me feel icky because it's so trained and programmed to be a people pleaser. So I had to come up with boundaries quick. And one of the things that I did at the time, I was 35 years old, and I was going through my own treatment, other non-traditional treatment, because you got to do something when you're diagnosed with a fast-spreading form of cancer. So as I was going through and learning, I got to say no. I have to say no to all of these things. So I devised some scripts or some ways or some reprogrammed automatic responses by saying, you know what, I don't know right now. Let me check in with my husband. Okay. And that became an automatic response for me, even though most of the time he had no idea. What it did was create a boundary from my people pleaser response automatically to my now new scripted response, because I need to be able to bring in the distractions, to rein those in, and to get into a space where my boundaries are clear. And so talking with clients and asking them, what are some things that you say and help you, and some other things that have helped me along the way, just to create some of that space. And that space you create is your boundary. It's invisible, but you create it. And then what we do as we create internal scripts as to how we're going to respond instead of reacting with an automatic response, right? And then later regretting it. So we want to respond. There are many scripts that you can practice to make it automatic so that you're treating the person as a person. Because most of the time, from what I see others wanting from others, is others are more of an object to do something for the person. But in this process, in creating our boundaries, we're treating the others as a person first. And then also reminding them that I'm a person first. I have all of these things that I need to attend to before I can share anything with you. And being completely honest. So some of the things that we've come up with are like, if, hey, can I come over, or can we meet somewhere, or can we get on Zoom really quick because I've got a question or whatever. I do get this a lot, but some of the responses that we've come up with is, I'm a little tied up right now. I'll drop you a message or send you an instant message or drop you a DM or whatever once I'm free. And then here's the thing. Once you say that, you gotta do it. You can't ghost the person, because then you're training people to ghost you. So you want to make sure that you're following through on your word. When your word goes out, it comes back fulfilled. So if you're going to tell someone, I'm tied up right now, I'll send you a message as soon as I'm free. Then within that tidying up and completing what you're supposed to be doing, or you're off the clock now because you work at home, then all of these things get done. Say, hey, I'm free for the next 45 minutes. Or I'll be free between this time and this time later this afternoon. So you can give them a heads up, you followed through. Then they have a heads up of a window of opportunity to now talk to you. Then the ball is in their court as to whether or not they are going to follow through or ghost you. So it doesn't matter if they ghost you. Maybe they didn't need you or your time or your attention as much now as they did maybe 3 hours ago. So this creates a little bit of space. And then it also reminds them that, oh yeah, they work at home and they are a person, so it kind of creates this boundary that you create around you, how you want others to treat you. And another interesting one that came up is our health in relationships. For example, someone hasn't seen you in a long time and they start grilling you about your relationship. And, to create your boundary, something that you can practice or create a script around, an automatic response. You can say, I'd rather not discuss my relationship or my body or whatever I'm choosing right now, and it's okay to say that. And if they are offended, that's their business, right? One thing I found that is interesting, say, I'd rather not discuss my relationship, but I'm working on this project that I'd really like to discuss with you. So it's a nice reframe. And a lot of times they don't even know what just happened. So these are scripts that you can internalize, and they become automatic responses instead of our old automatic reactions, which muddy up our boundaries. It's like, wait a second. Where are my boundaries again? Because remember, they're invisible and they're very subjective. And you make them objective by your reactions, no boundaries, or responses. Your boundaries become clear. And some others, like, thanks so much for the invitation. However, I'm not available that evening. So just let them know right off the bat, oh, thank you so much for thinking about me. I really appreciate it. But I'm already booked at that time. Thank you. Done. No sorry, no apologies, nothing. Just thank them, drop the information, done. No guilt trips. Guilt trips are a big one for a lot of people. So none of those things. Just put that energy, say no thank you to that energy, because we want to make sure we don't have guilt, shame, those kind of things within our energy as we're making our response, because then it becomes more of a reaction of what's happening inside. And so we want to work on those things inside, and that's the work we do here. So many times I'm invited to weekend retreats or going there to do a workshop and doing this and doing that. So one of the things that's really important to me that I have to create boundaries around in order to grow and develop this relationship is my relationship with my partner of 37 years this June. So our relationship is very important to me. So I have to say no to a lot of things. For example, I sounds really great what you're offering there, but I need to spend time, or I've already booked that time with something else. And a lot of times I have to book my time with my partner out in advance, because otherwise somebody's saying, hey, are you available this weekend to do a presentation, to do a workshop, to do a class, whatever that is. And if I'm already booking my time with my relationships first, that time's already booked up. So this is a pattern that you can create as your own boundary. Look at your calendar and see how you're utilizing that to create your boundaries. And then, another one, I'd really like to help you out, but I've got some pressing things that I need to attend to for myself, or first. I got to attend to these things first. These are priority for me right now first. So I'd really like to help you out, but I am not available at this time. So you can give them a time, say, hey, once these things are done, give me about 2 or 3 days, and let's check in on, let's see, today's Friday, let's check in on Tuesday, something like that, so that you're not ghosting them, and now the ball is in their court, and now your boundary is very, very clear. And I can see you're upset. I'd love to support you. You're very upset. You lost your home, you need the money, you need the space, whatever it is, you need the healing, whatever it is you need right now. But right now, I don't have the space or the mental capacity or the emotional capacity or the physical capacity to do whatever it is you're wanting me to do right now for you. However, I can see you're very upset, and I recognize that and honor that. But there's nothing I can do physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. Spiritually, there's always something that we can do, but we hold that inside. We don't want to say that out loud. So if our boundaries, our inner boundaries, are held inside, and praying for someone is held inside. And so that is something you can do by holding them in the highest light of them achieving whatever it is they need in the moment, quickly, easily, whatever that is. So then you create some space between your external world. I don't have the physical means, the mental capacity, the emotional capacity. That's it. But then internally hold that space of prayer. And that really helps support your boundaries clearly. What we don't want to do is spiritual bypass. And this would be crossing a boundary, I think, by saying, I'll pray for you, sending healing thoughts and prayers. We don't want to say that out loud, because that is kind of crossing an unseen boundary. So that state of prayer is something inward that you do, and hold them in the highest energy possible, and then let it go. But in the meantime, I see that you're upset. I see that you're upset. I'm supporting you. I hear you. I'm listening. Here's what others have done. Maybe you have a resource you can share, something to show your support for them. If you have money to give and you're able to, I've got $20. I can give that to you right now, but that's all I have. Everything else is already accounted for, and your boundaries are set, clear. If they come back again, you say, I already told you, here's my capacity. I've given you this, and now I'm at capacity. and make your boundaries very clear, because we're coming into a space and time where it seems like we just verbally, emotionally, mentally, in other people's space, in other people's business. Hey, are you vaxxed? Whether I'm vaxxed or not, first of all, you just crossed a boundary, right? I'm not going to give you my medical information unless it's absolutely necessary for my contracts or any places that I'm going to be going to attend, and which we're going to probably see more and more, but I'm not going to discuss my medical records with you. Doesn't matter what kind of vaccinations and whether I have them or not. None of your business. Okay, but you can say it in a nice way. I don't feel comfortable discussing my medical records with anyone right now. Other ways that people can maybe cross over that boundary and make you feel like that automatic reaction of getting involved emotionally, spiritually, energetically is, something you can say along the lines of, you have every right to feel the way you do. You have every right to feel the way you do. However, I'm not comfortable with taking sides with this conversation, or I haven't really done my own research and I haven't come to any of my own conclusions. And that way it creates this space and it creates your boundaries. So with that said, here are some scripts. These are just tools. The first thing to do is become aware that there are no boundaries with what is happening right now. You're being asked of your time. You're being asked of your attention. You're being asked of your finances. You're being asked to give away services for free. I've been accused that my services should be given away for free. And I do purport that I choose where and when I give away my services for free. So I let them know that, I choose whether it's my linguistic language contracts that I do or the wellness programs that I do. I choose who and where and when and how I want to give my services for free. So if a client comes to me and says, well, your spiritual services should be given away for free, well, thank you for showing me where you are. However, here's my boundary. And if you want to work with me, which I would love you to, and we'd work on that and open up that energy that you're accusing me of, and then things begin to transform and flow once you are very clear on your boundaries. So with that said, I want to hear from you. I want to hear, what boundaries do you use? Do you have scripts that you use? Do you practice your scripts? Like if you're going into a situation, many times I'll go to conferences for my profession and I'll be asked to volunteer for this and to do this. Do I have scripts that I'm ready? It's like, I'm really here to get the CEUs. I need to focus in on these things. I have some time between this time and this time, after dinner, or, look ahead at the schedule and be honest if you do or not, if you have the capacity or not, and then put the ball in their court. And I'll tell you, 80%, maybe more of the time, people will ghost you, especially if they're trying to get you attention for their drama, especially if they're trying to get your resources of your focus, awareness, and attention on them to take it away and using you as an object as opposed to a person. And when you come to them as a person, I have these pressing things. I have these priorities first. Here's the time that I'm available for you. And then that coming back, you'll know right away, they're using you as an object by, oh, what a bitch, kind of thing. Or they'll be like, oh, I'm going to put this in my calendar and I'm going to send them a message during this time. They say that, they're available. So they're going to show you where they are at when you show your boundaries. So get very, very clear on your boundaries. So with that said, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you loved about this, and I want to know what you would love more of. And in the meantime, keep being amazing.